Hey everyone, welcome once again to Show versus Business. This is the real Theo Harvey with Mr. Benja. Look, we're super excited about this one. Why? Because MCU is messing up, guys. Look, we have an issue. What just got announced in the latest Doomsday Avengers movie cast? So we're going to go into that in detail. Plus, we got a little thing that we're going to talk about with AI. We got some issues. We got some beef, so we're going to talk about what's going on there. So, Mr. Benja, what do you think about this episode?
I liked it, man. I didn't quite piece it together for when it was happening, but yeah, I think Disney is closing the MCU quietly. They're just being like, "Shh, we're doing a soft reboot. So soft you can't hear us. We're walking on cotton. Shh, reboot. Get out of here, kids." That's all I got.
Gonna bring back a literary reference, man, of mice and men. Lenny, just look off into the sunset. So quietly put you down. That's what the MCU is doing. That's what Disney's doing to the MCU, guys. But we'll get into all that. Look, as always, please smash that like button, subscribe, and go ahead and give us some comments. We will read your comments here. We have a whole section. We'll go into that because without you guys, we wouldn't have content. We want to get into discussions, not just diatribe. So thank you for listening. Let's go. What's up, everyone? This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money, with your host, the real Theo Harvey, and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, what's been going on with you?
Ooh, boy, I have been living in the future, dog. I don't know what's happening with me, but I'm having visions of like people in front of me just dying, and I'm like, oh, I'm in the future, and you're old, not in my life now. You did, dog. Get out of here. And I'm just, I think it's Benjamin Hardy. His books again are just hitting me. I was looking back through my future self because I realized I wasn't living my future self now. I was thinking about the future, thinking about like what would happen in the future, but I wasn't living it now. Like if Michael Jordan were to go back in time to high school or whatever, and he was playing basketball, he couldn't imagine he was in the future. He would just have to be that Michael Jordan living in his younger body. And like, dang, I can't shoot. I haven't lifted weights. I need to do this. Let me just start into it. He would have to believe he was his future self. So not so much going into the future, but bringing the future to you. That's changed everything for me. Because now I'm just like, I'm in the future already. You don't exist. Yeah, I can say whatever I want to you because in the future, you won't exist. I can do 100 push-ups right now because my 80 push-up self doesn't exist. It's just a slightly different way of thinking about the Future Self Now book. And yeah, it's got me, dog. I'm in the future now. So I don't know. What year is it? 2030 something? Yeah.
Taking the book literal. I love it, man. Wow, man. 80 push-ups, that's what you can do now. I'm doing about 50 every day. So I'm trying to get it up to 60. I'm probably, turn up to 60 here. So that's of all that, that's what I got out of your comment, right? That you're doing 80 push-ups right now. So I got to step my game up.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't done that in like about a month or two, but in a row, I mean, like I'll do 30, 30, and then I'll finish out with however many else with a small break in between. It's not like I get up, go to the bank or whatever, run some errands and come back and do the rest of them. I kind of try to bang out 25 to 30, chill for a little bit, breathe in, breathe out. All right, keep doing the rest. But if I'm just doing them straight, I'll cap out around 50 something usually because I try to bang, 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 bang.
Yeah. I try to do it every morning, do my stretching, push-ups, sit-ups and everything. So man, it's it's real, man. It's old, man. You wake up in the morning, your bones hurt. You like, oh, I'm wobbling. I didn't even drink last night. What's going on? So I love it, man. Let's go into what you just said about your future self. I think the thing that I got out of Dr. Benjamin Hardy's book, and matter of fact, I brought that with me. That was one of the few books I brought with me to New York because, I'm trying to write my book too, right? And do some things there. I took his course, almost a year and a half ago, that 12-week course. And so I wrote a bunch of stuff in there, and there's a lot of good future stuff in there. And I think the thing he kind of impressed upon me is like using your imagination to truly believe that future self, and that becomes more reality than your present self or your past self. And that's really
Yeah.
because I think Myron Golden said this. He said it's all lies anyway, so might as well make lies that help you. Because even the past, your frame of reference
Yeah.
now, when you look at past experiences, they probably didn't actually happen that way. They're just colored with your emotions and
Yeah.
your understanding at that time and all that. But now, so there's lies you tell about the past. So why not tell lies about the future and make it reality? So that's how
Exactly.
I look at it. So do make lies that serve you.
Yeah. So the switch that hit me for some reason was thinking about myself in a closed circuit television monitor, but my future self was watching my current self. So I'm sitting down, kind of goofing around, right, in the kitchen. I'm like, I wonder what would happen if I put tomatoes in this. And I'm like rifling through the refrigerator and going through the pantry, just trying to think of something interesting to eat that really doesn't matter. I mean, it's fun or whatever, but it's another way to waste time, right? I'll spend a half hour screwing around with random stuff in the kitchen. And I thought of myself on like a CCTV camera and my future self looking at it like, look at this dumb jackass. 30 minutes just on a CCTV. So once that happened, I was like, it was kind of like Inception or whatever, like looking up at the camera and you're seeing yourself like, oh, right. My future self wouldn't be doing this. My future self has better things to do and would go do that. So
Hmm.
CCTV self, try thinking about that, like watching yourself outside of yourself or
Hmm. Yeah.
astral plane if you prefer.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a good way to kind of think of it. Pull yourself forward that way, that your future self is looking at you and is looking down in disgust.
You made the disgust face like,
Mm.
I don't know, dog. You can do better.
Yeah, yeah, this ain't gonna do. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it.
Yes.
No, I love it, man. Shoot.
How are you?
My week was interesting. Went down to Miami and got to meet some customers, potential customers, and did the traveling. I took a train down there. I think I talked about this. They
Oh.
have a bright line train. It's not the Amtrak. It's not your mama's train, but it's
Mhm.
bright line. It's supposed to be high speed rail, which still takes about 3.5 hours to get from Orlando to Miami. But I enjoy it, man. Just sitting in the cart,
Yeah, yeah.
having your
Love it.
Wi-Fi and just vibing. Didn't have a car down there, so I had to Uber everywhere, but I didn't mind, man. It was just, I just love that experience, man. I wish they had more. We had more travel experiences like they have in Europe, right? We can just don't have to
Yeah.
use a car and get around. And maybe because I drive so much, I'm just kind of like, and I've been flying around. I think I flew to Michigan and, we just got back from New York. And so I was just like, man, I don't want to fly. I don't want to drive. I just want to vibe. So I sat in the I just got in the train and just let it take me where it takes me. So yeah, I enjoyed it, man. So just a good experience. And like, and when you're just traveling like that, you just get a lot of good thinking time in. I caught up on some shows. So yeah, man, that was good. And then got back, with the family and saw kids playing sports and spending time with them. So I think overall, it's been a good week to kind of reacclimate myself into the grind that is running a business and
Yeah.
work. But yeah, it was good.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So we got some other things to talk about. You want to go ahead and start the ball rolling in this? Start with the
Well,
comments.
yeah, Comic Corner, bing, 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 bing. Let's get into it. CC.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, we always check our comments and send us the hate, send us the love, send us your interesting facts. The interesting facts are good, by the way. We love getting educated on a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff we just kind of pop on and give our commentary on. So you let us know what we're missing or what we need to do more research on. But yeah, we got a comment from Cora Gray on the Fantastic Four trailer, and we were saying that we wanted to see just a little more of the stuff, but the comment was, well, to be fair, you have to keep in mind that it's a teaser trailer. They probably don't want to show everything. Good point. Especially Reed, Mr. Fantastic's powers. So they're probably going to show a little bit of that in the next trailer. Fair point. Also, I couldn't care less how the casting is going to be in the movie, as long as you have the essence of the characters for the film, especially if you're doing a superhero movie. Someone who doesn't care about casting. I know you care about casting. What do you think of not caring about the casting?
That's BS. I mean, they're just the essence of the characters. but part
Hmm.
of the essence of the characters is the actor themselves have to kind of be believable, right? You got to cast age appropriately, right? Tom Holland can play Spider-Man because he looks young as hell, right?
Right.
So, I think that's part of it. The essence of a character is how they look, how they move, how they react and stuff like that. Like,
You're
for instance, I'm not.
I was about to say, so you're matching up a certain level of expectation with the actual person. Like, hey,
Good point.
is
Yep.
that
I would say that would be yeah, so the expectation of what the character is portrayed usually in the comics should match up. And that could be physical. I mean, if it's a black character or it was a Latino character, should be like that. I mean, sometimes they do what they call race bend. I guess what they call it, race bend. I don't know if that's the right term.
swapping?
Yeah, swapping races in certain cases. Like we have a Nick Fury in the MCU who was black, but in the original comic book version, he was portrayed as a white man. But I digress. I would just say that
Real quick, someone called us out in the other comments before. Yes, we do know about the Ultimates, Nick Fury.
yes,
We know
that's
about a lot
correct.
of these characters, but in general,
Yeah, I mean, come on, the OG Nick Fury was a white guy, so let's not get it twisted. So, great for the Ultimates. But anyway, and written by Millar, which we know is an interesting character in himself, right? So yeah, that guy. But anyway, I digress. So I just say that I think that we do need to understand like the essence of the characters, but I would also say, especially for Fantastic Four, I mean, let's be honest. How many people have read a Fantastic Four comic book or really get a sense of the essence of Fantastic Four? These are characters that came out in the 60s, but haven't been really relevant. And I can't remember when. I mean, yes, there were some early movies, but I mean, they're not like a Spider-Man or Batman who, when they out the gate, they've been relevant ever
yeah,
since,
yeah,
right? And so we gotta have a sense of what Spider-Man characters like, an essence of that, an essence of Batman. I mean, I have some general, so I read some comics
yeah,
recently of Fantastic Four, and you may have an essence as well. Like read Richards is smart. He loves Sue. Sue's like the mother hen. Johnny's a hothead, hence the flame. And of
yeah.
course, Ben Grimm, he's kind of like the brother figure of everybody, and always sad because he looks ugly. Right? So many words. So yeah, exactly. It's clobbering time. Hmm.
I'm gonna just drive the car and scare people.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think that, I don't know if people understand what the essence of a Fantastic Four character is like. So that's number one. And number two, I think essence is tied to physicality and looks a little bit. So, I mean, I hear, fair point at Core Gray 4794. But I do want to say there's nuance here in how I think through it.
Exactly, and I think it's one of those properties where you can get away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Because yeah, aside from Ben Grimm, I mean, the other characters you can kind of fudge around with a little bit, and people wouldn't be too upset. I don't think, unless you made Reed Richards like a young bratty kid. I mean, you don't want that.
Which in the Ultimates they have a Reed Richards, Franklin Richards, who's a bratty
Exactly,
kid.
Franklin. Yeah.
So there you go. So we know our comics now. Don't try us now. Don't let us bring the smoke.
Anytime I wonder about what they're going to do. I think back to Guardians of the Galaxy. I was just like, what in the heck are they talking about? Why would they do this? And it worked. So yeah, we'll
Well,
see.
it's so funny. I saw an interview with Amanda Siegfried. I don't know if you know who that is. She played
Mm.
Elizabeth Holmes in that movie. She's like an up and coming actress, been around for a while. She was in Mean Girls, so that's how far back she goes.
Oh, her. Yes.
But yeah, she got dinged to play the Gamora part for Guardians of the Galaxy, and she said no because she didn't want to be a part of the first MCU bomb. And you know what? That would be a valid point to bring up if you think about the script. It shouldn't have worked. I mean,
Yeah.
and it does as well as it does. It's just out there weird. It's talking about some different characters.
Dancing to 80s music and
Yeah, I mean, but I think that was a key. I know you
mm-hmm.
have your way about your boy. What's his name? The
Starlo.
director. No,
Oh,
the
Gun.
director. Gunn. Now you have some concerns about Gunn, which
No,
I
no, no.
hear your points.
He's a weird dude, and if you're bringing the weird, go for it. But then once you start trying to make the more standard stuff, veer into the weird, you're like, okay, are you gonna how's this gonna play out? And yeah, I just start getting
Yeah.
curious.
Well, he knew enough to ground it in this 80s,
Yeah,
rock or 70s rock, kind of motif to kind of, yes, Star Lord is in space, he's facing monsters and creatures and different civilizations, but he sure loves him some soft rock, with a Walkman, right?
yeah,
And those songs were hot, man. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, when that I listened to those songs after the movie, I was like, oh wow. And they had some Michael Jackson on there too. A couple Jackson 5, excuse me, on some of those needle drops. So kudos
hmm,
to for doing that, man. But I think that she would be rightfully so to reject that part because it just seems so out there. And so when you say things like that Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah, it shouldn't work, but it did work. But you know what? I knew
yeah,
Marvel had something when Thor worked. I mean, Hulk, fine, because there's been kind of Hulk movies before.
right, right,
Captain Iron Man was basic 90s kind of like superhero movie, but with a little heart in there. And even Captain America, yes, it was a little hokey, but it had some stuff. But when they did Thor and Thor did money, they went all out. I mean, they really went to Asgard. You saw the Rainbow
yeah,
Road. You saw everything. I said, "Oh shit, they got something here, man,"
yeah,
because people are watching this. So, anyway, yeah, man, I think there's something there with all that.
yeah.
With
So,
all that.
really quickly, we were talking about Gunn, but for this movie, Fantastic Four, First Steps, coming out soon. It's directed by Matt Shackman. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah, he did. Dang, man, I
He's
can't remember.
I'm looking at the list right now. Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. He did a couple episodes of that.
Hmm.
He did WandaVision for 9 episodes.
That's
Also,
what it
so
was. WandaVision. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
solid there. The Boys he did an episode of. I don't know which one exactly. Game of Thrones did 2 episodes there. American Gothic 1 episode. So he's touched quite a few cool things and a lot of pedestrian level stuff. I just mean not superhero-y.
Yeah, he did Game of Thrones, like you said, some other stuff. Check this out. Now I'm going
What
into his.
Chippendales 2 episodes. Hey,
Oh, yeah, I think I said I saw the episode that series. That was a little different series. But yeah,
House.
yeah, he was a child actor, man. I'm looking at some of the stuff. He's in Just the 10 of Us.
Hmm.
He was in
Right.
Growing Pains. He was in Different Strokes. So yeah, he started off as a kid actor, man. And then just like, so I'm done. I'm gonna go ahead and be a director now. So
So
yeah, interesting.
you know what? This dude's been around. So bringing in somebody who's really been able to see so much, bringing something from the '60s into now, okay, he's making a lot more sense now. Just looking at
Yeah. Well, WandaVision was really good. I mean, that remember we talked about that back in 2021 and about the how different it was and how he brought the motif of the different TV eras into that, you know,
yeah, yeah.
into the storyline. So and he would pretty much ran that. So yeah, it makes sense for him to kind of do this show. So I mean this movie. So we'll see how well he does with Fantastic Four. To your point. So yeah, think we I think we all agree that there's going to be some interesting things to see, characters and all that. But I think the jury's still out to see the essence will be there until we kind of see what's put on film, in my opinion.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Man, we talk about art and what people are talking about, and getting people excited about essence. Mr. Benji, you told me about a story that AI is trying to suck the essence out of art, man. What have you heard?
So, artists have been complaining for a while, and it's a really sad situation because you hear so many artists, and myself included, complaining about a lot of stuff like, hey, man, got to get the copy protection together. Hey, we need some more protections on X, Y, and Z. And then, I was online and this artist was just like post after post after post. It's like, no one does art like me. And I type in these parameters, which are all over my website, and suddenly the AI can generate all these pictures that look like my art. This is terrible. And it was like, man, I don't know what to say about this because it's coming. I mean, what you gonna do? It kind of thing, right? And I remember I was at a video game company, and I heard about the story where this artist was doing all this great work, and they just walked in and kind of said, "Hey, this is your work, huh? Yeah, we're gonna hire you." They hired this person for like a couple months, let him go, and then basically did his art better than he could. So now the company was getting all the money from that art style, and he's like, "Yeah, I created the style, but look, it's over here now, and I can't do anything about it. Woe is me." And it's like it's a hard game, right? So now, Studio Ghibli, a very well-known and beloved studio from Japan, really known for their animation and their art. Something weird has happened. They've gone viral, but not in the way they wanted to. The head guy, I believe it's pronounced Miyazaki. I've seen him recently and over the past several years, decades even, talking about computers and AI that is not cool, not natural. Humans bring the art to art.
Hmm.
And suddenly, in a twist of evil fate, his art style that's being used in this new chat GPT model that can produce images. So it's like, hey, have me and my friend sitting in front of a pub in the style of a Studio Ghibli film. And bing, there it is. And it's so unique. You're like, oh, that's cool, cute, and wonderful. Kind of like a Studio Ghibli film. It's weird because the person who hated it and fought against it so hard is suddenly the poster child for having their art style or the studio's art style just get used up like this. It's, yeah, man, I don't know what to say, but sad day.
Mm, 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 mm. I mean, yeah, this whole that's a hot take, man. I think about art being over, and it's something that you've been kind of talking about. Obviously, with Midjourney and other image AI based image generators, and obviously OpenAI has kind of threw their hat in the ring, and now they created something that's a lot easier to create. Almost like comic books. Someone just showed like you could actually recreate comic books in a little bit of style and different
Hmm.
styles and stuff like that. Frank Miller and things like that with actual, thought balloons and stuff like that because the way it renders the written word a little bit more effective. So I'll be curious to kind of see where this all goes. So I have a hot take on AI. This is my take. We got this image generators. OpenAI released that
Hmm.
not too long ago. They talked about deep research with the ability to kind of create these esoteric long reports on any type of topic where you can get strategic reports on that. And
Hmm.
then they talked about AI agents, right? And how they can book your next flight to Paris and stuff like that. Mr. Benja, man, I think AI is a distraction. It's like they're just throwing so much at the wall right now.
Hmm.
And not saying that it can be useful, but it is becoming too much slop out there where it's hard to make it useful because it's so much out there. And yes, we got these Ghibli images. They took over the internet, and people are having fun with it. But the real world applications and how people are using them, for the future, is still kind of like, is it that useful, or is it just making our job even that much more harder, right? And so I do feel like it's becoming more of a distraction than really being helpful in
Right.
solving real world problems.
So, let me say this. This kind of touches on both of our takes. And my take, by the way, in case you didn't catch it, was art is done. Find something to do. If you're an artist,
If
I'm,
if you're being if you're not being clear,
yeah, you're done, buddy. I'm
you're done, son.
I'm saying this for your protection and your safety. It's not good. It's not the same as you thought it was when you were in school.
Get off the plane.
You in the back with the art pad and pencil. You're done. And I love you. Got my art pad over there, by the way, and my colored pencils. But yeah. So the thing that is interesting that I wanted to say, based off your point, being a distraction, not useful. I was in a game studio, small game studio, for a while, and there it was myself acting as a designer, the guy running things and talking to the publishers and all that, the director, the money guy, money slash marketing guy. That's three people who aren't touching the product. One programmer on site, one programmer off site, and five artists. So that's like 5 to 5 people, five other stuff, and five artists because we just wanted to crank out the art, right? Now I'm going through Steam. I'm going through all these different places online for independent games. You have five of these other people and no artist, and it's like, how did you get that to happen? Right. Uh, Yeah, it's out there in terms of art, but to your point, yeah.
Well, this whole thing about vibe coding, right? That's the next other distraction that AI is throwing in our. You don't need programmers now. You can just vibe, give into the vibe, right? Just
Hmm.
use your words and create code. Your own video games with words. You don't need a programmer. And so it's getting to the point, where they have these agents, this code. And look, as a business person like me, I'll be honest with you, I am excited about stuff like that. As someone who
Hmm.
has people that I hire, I absolutely believe there's some opportunities there to utilize AI potentially. But because there's so much slop out there, it's hard to make it useful. Does that make sense? Because you're trying to figure out, like, you're trying to get through all the marketing spin and these, you can do this, but you can do this, but you can't do it with that, and you can do this. It's like, well, damn, I just want to do these three things. And it can do one version of AI can do that one thing. The other one can do one and a half, and the other one can do four other things I didn't even ask for. So it's like, how do you make it useful? And I think that's what we're kind of up against, where you're going to have to hire consultants. So you have a whole nother middle layer of an AI whisperer,
Managed,
if you
yeah.
will.
I was about to say AI manager, some guy, yeah.
The AI whisperer
Whisperer.
to help you make it useful, because number one, and I think that because they have so much money,
Hmm.
these AI companies, right? I mean, they're raising billions, Mr. Benja. Billions. I can't impress upon you how much money they're raising on the speculation that's going to be so useful, right, for the future. And so ability to create so much productivity, because you can get rid of whole slathers of people, right? Like you just said it, you could replace
Yeah.
5 artists. You could probably replace the marketing guy as well. Who else was in that list?
The marketing slash money guy,
You
the
can you
business,
could probably replace the money guy.
yeah. The money guy, the business slash operations guy. He talks with the publishers and all those guys. The designer guy and two
Get
programmers.
rid of the designer. Designer's gone. The programmer's gone. You got one business op guy doing this
In,
what 10
in
people did.
in a blank room with the table with the laptop, and he's just walking around vibe coding.
Yes. So that's why we're getting all this slop out here, but not really getting the sense of the usefulness, right? What problem are
Mm,
we solving with this stuff? And I don't think there's a good sense of that.
mm,
I mean, I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I use it, and the only way you can do that is by playing with it, but that's you don't have a lot of time to play, so it's kind of like, let me put this on Blackboard. Unless you just hire someone that's all their job is to do play with it to kind of
yeah.
find something useful. Then it's like, so I'm at that point where I'm probably gonna bring on an intern. I'm already telling her, hey, look up on ChatGPT how to code. Let me see some of your GitHub stuff, and then let's I'm going to throw it into GitHub and see what kind of feedback it gives her. And then I was like, okay, well, now can you work with AI to make your code better and do this instead and that. Now I'm not a programmer, but I know what I want, and so I can kind of guide her and using the tools more effectively to be more efficient. And then she can come back and say, this is how it can be useful, and
Right, right.
boom, I got something. But other than that, Mr. Benja, you're not gonna these companies are not making it easy, and so it's becoming a bit distraction to what you're really try to do, which is solve a problem and to make money with by solving that problem. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my hot take right now. So we use the art is done. I'm saying AI is a distraction.
I didn't know what you meant by that when you put that in the notes. But you're chopping it up there for now, at least, in a similar vein of blockchain and other stuff like that, where it's just kind of like, all right, y'all play around for a while. In the meantime, we got work to do.
Yeah, I mean they can solve some problems and get some stuff done, but it becomes a messiness where you have to dig through some stuff pretty deeply to kind of find the usefulness. And I feel in some cases for your specific use cases, right? And,
Hmm.
there's some easy ones potentially, but anyway, so that's kind of, because the marketing messages are becoming so frequent with new stuff, it becomes a distraction. It's like, what's it called? Shiny toy syndrome? Hey,
Yes.
a squirrel,
Sure.
dog, squirrel, you're looking this way. Oh, what's that? Oh, hey, I can do this. It can do that. It can do that. So it's just like, what? I was still trying to figure out how to use chat LLMs. Now you're talking about agents. wait a minute, I was just trying to figure out how to do deep research. So now you're saying I can vibe code? So it's like, it's all useful, but when everything's useful, potentially, then none of it's useful.
Yeah, I'm looking through this thread, and people are throwing art at each other from AI in the comments. It's comedy, man, and yeah, it's these artists I'm talking about. They're It's like people yelling about the purity of cooking with an oven when the microwave came out. It's like, yeah, I know, but I just want my oatmeal, dog. It's not that much different.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's
sad day,
crazy, man.
sad day.
Yeah. You know what else is another sad day, Mr. Benja?
What's that?
MCU and Avengers Doomsday. That was a sad day for the MCU.
Oh man, we're talking MCU and Avengers Doomsday. We've talked about RDJ coming back. Everybody was bubbling about saving the MCU, and we had a whole episode about it. Where he's on stage in his Doom outfit, and it was a big thing. And over the months, we've started to wonder something, and it's a serious question that we gotta ask. And I think, is Disney calling it done? Like, no more MCU? Are they silently pulling the plug on all this with all this stuff we're seeing? I mean, they're getting some hype going on, but is it like fire sale? Last 5 days, get it while it's here, kind of thing. I don't know what's going on, but maybe you can help explain the situation now, because this media stunt just came out and it got everybody talking for a minute.
Yeah, Mr. Benja. I mean, did you hear about this 5.5 hour stream of chairs that went on earlier this week?
I saw a still shot of some chairs and RDJ and was like, whatever, man. I don't care about this behind the scenes crap. Give me some beef, some steak to get my teeth into.
Shoe into it. Well, Mr. Benja, I think I heard rumors of it of the day. I think it started at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it
Uh-huh.
was one of those things where I was like, okay, cool. During the day, I just really don't have any cycles for the nerd shit. but after 7, I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm eating it up. So anyway, I'm watching it after 7. Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? So it
Delicious.
looks like there was this stream. You just had you can have your internets up and looking at chairs get revealed. First chairs revealed and it was saying this is the cast for the Doomsday, right? And the Doomsday Avengers Doomsday movie that's coming out next year.
Oh,
And so
wait.
the first
Hold on.
chair,
No one was in the chairs the entire time? They
no,
just revealed the chairs, not even the people who
chair,
would sit in the chairs. Okay,
no,
so the
until,
director.
until RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. showed up at the last chair,
Okay,
right?
so
But they
so
just showed the chair.
the movie chairs with the name on the back. I see.
Yes. So you're watching. I wasn't there to watch, and somewhere on YouTube, maybe we'll put in the show notes, but you can actually go to the actual 5.5 hour stream and see when the chairs got revealed over the 5.5 hours. But the first chair was Chris Hemsworth. So people, oh yeah, Chris Hemsworth. I mean, I don't know how excited people are, because it seems like anytime Feige just spits out some kind of MCU project, Hemsworth's gonna be right there. It doesn't matter. He's been in everything from What If, voice acting, to all his movies, to showing up on a spoof, the YouTube spoof, which is kind of funny with him being a roommate to the guy
Yeah.
in America, which is kind of funny when it first came out. So because I think this is just money train. Chris Hemsworth knows where his bread is buttered, and is buttered with MCU money. So he shows up, cool. Then I guess you have to wait another 20-30 minutes or whatever to the next chair gets revealed. And then it was this next actor, and then
So,
the next actor, next actor. Okay, from two ways. We'll talk about cast and what this means for this plot line, all that in a second. But as a marketing ploy, right? I think it was genius because, number one, it was questionable. Marketing has always got to capture attention. We're like, what is this about, right? And so I think there was enough there
mhm.
to kind of capture it. Plus, because it was so long and people like long form content, they gave other podcasters who were probably doing live reaction videos of the chair announcements in between, making money off
Yeah.
of, or making their own content off of when the chairs got revealed. and so they were starting to jump in on
Yeah,
it, like plankton next to a whale, right? Trying to get this
yeah.
much needed content.
So
Um,
so hold on, dog. I'm looking at this. I found the stream. I just searched for Marvel Chairs stream, right?
mhm.
And I go to 7 minutes in, see Chris Hemsworth's name, and I'm like, yeah, it's the back of a chair with the name and this weird ominous noise. But I knew this was a live stream, so I was like, okay, where's this chat button? I want to see what the chat's up to, right? I click on the open chat panel, and text is just flying by. Someone's like, they're stalling. Avengers Kang. I want to see Miss Marvel. Is Thor crying? I think someone's late. It's just, when you get
Because
like,
no one knew what to expect. You didn't know if Chris Hemsworth were actually going to show
yeah,
up. You didn't know if that's all they're going to show. So they just said the cast announcement, and that was it. And so you didn't know what to expect. So it was that anticipation of something bigger that you were hoping for, but it
no,
created
this is
so much
genius.
side content, right? It was controversial enough, so much side content that people ate it up. To the tune of 275 million people watched that stream over the course of 5.5 hours, Mr. Benja. This was very interesting ploy for MCU and Kevin Feige and team. And I would say it worked.
Yeah. So okay, this is actually a pretty nice production. I'm jumping through the stream right now, and the chat hasn't stopped. But it reminds me of the Twitch do nothing streams or
Mhm.
no viewer streams, where somebody basically gets on, turns on their camera, and then like cleans their living room on camera. They may actually leave the house, go pick up food, and come back in and just look at the chat. Like they'll leave and then they'll walk in like, "Oh, hey, chat. Yeah, I just went to get a burger. I'm going to sit down and eat it now." And they'll just eat a burger for a half hour. It'll be like 0 views, right? And then like somebody will jump in, "Hey, thanks for eating the burger. Here's a donation," and then go away. And you're like, "What?" So it's bizarre, man. But I think this may have been, you know, keying in off of that the do nothing streams or the
Hmm.
0 view streams.
You might be right. I mean, kudos to the marketing department for MCU kind of keying in on that trend and figuring out this could work here to kind of change the conversation a little bit about Marvel. So from a marketing standpoint, definitely genius and creating anticipation and creating intrigue, controversy, a platform for people to communicate and create their own content, right, based on
Yeah.
the content they were creating. But there's a sniff, there's a whiff, just a little whiff of desperation and
Mm,
basically this is coming off uh two movies that got released and the TV show, Captain American 4 that underperformed vastly. Daredevil is doing okay, but it's not a blockbuster, right? It's
right,
not,
right.
people not running to go, check it out every week. And then of course the controversy, and this is Disney, even though it's not a Marvel movie, but Disney brand, Snow
Yeah.
White, which was needs to say a shit show without mincing words between the main actress Rachel Ziegler, Gal Gadot, and Disney, and how they promote that movie and the flames that came against that casting.
Rachel
Yes,
Zegler was like, "We want the flame." Yeah.
she likes all the flames. And we're probably not gonna get into it now, but go check
Mm,
out her tweets and what she was talking about. And basically, Disney was trying to throw her under the bus to say it was because of her. We belong to him
yeah.
because of her that Disney lost all this
Yeah.
money. Basically, only made 40 million or something like that, based on the $260 million budget. So opening weekend, which is unheard of. So anyway, make a long story short, they need to change the conversation and fast, and I think they did that with this move. So I think there's a whiff there when we say this could be the end of MCU. That they're pulling on all the stops to keep you interested in this. Uh, I mean, Mr. Benja. I mean, what
So
about the
yeah.
movies? That they're trying to release around this time. I guess.
So yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't want to leave people hanging with the idea. we'll get to the movies. I'll throw those out there, but we started this because we were saying, yeah, they're doing all this stuff, and there's this big stream, 5 hours, but it's nothing but chairs. It's like, as I said, when there's your favorite coffee shop or whatever, and they're like, hey, new Baja Blast coffee, and you go in there and you drink it, you're like, hey, wait, this is the same old coffee, whatever, except it's got an umbrella in it, and somebody sprinkled orange in my coffee. What is this? This makes it Baja. What are you talking about? You trying to get me with this? Your coffee shop is done, kid. You're done, son. And that's what we felt. So I was like, okay, these Marvel phases are usually pretty big, and they're bringing Robert Downey Jr. back. Let me go check to make sure all the movies are. We're going to have all these movies out. What's in Phase 6? What's going to be there? And officially, there are only 4 movies. So we're talking about, Captain America 4, I guess, and Thunderbolts are part of Phase 5 technically. But going into Phase 4, Phase 6, they've only got 4 movies: Fantastic Four, Doomsday, Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and then Avengers Secret Wars. So 2 of those are these big ensemble movies or whatever, with Fantastic Four in front and Spider-Man jammed in between. And when you compare that with all of the build up, the hype, the planning, the plotting, the marketing, the story weaving with the Phase 1, that when people think about Avengers and these big epic 2-part movies, they think of, Endgame, Infinity War, and all the stuff that was happening up before then and leading to it. And it's like, 4 movies? Oh, okay. And some of this, okay.
Yeah. I think there's just a sense that we got to change the conversation. We don't have a lot of product coming out. And now, be honest, they did mention there was too much product coming out from MCU, right, with the TV shows and the movies and all that. And so there was a concerted effort to slow down a little bit with some of this stuff. But I still agree with you. There does seem to be like, what is this all going toward, right? And what are we trying to build here? And so, Mr. Benja, yeah, and there's some TV shows coming out. Eyes of Wakanda, Marvel Zombies, Wonder Man. Daredevil is out now. Vision Quest, and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man kind of was done as well. But I would say the ones that have already been completed, Daredevil, Born Again, and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm not saying friendly neighborhood Spider-Man was unwatchable, but I didn't see a sense to finish it. And look, I get it what they were trying to do with it, but there was just so many things that just not core to Spider-Man. Like, they were just like, who created this? It was like the core thesis of Spider-Man was that he has a great guilt, great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
But in this version of Spider-Man, that's what threw me off the whole, not to get down the little rabbit hole in this, but what threw me off this whole show was that he got his powers randomly when this multiversal creature came through the gates. And then Stephen Strange showed up. Doctor Strange showed up to kind of help him. And there was a spider that came from this multiverse and bit him. And that's how he became Spider-Man. I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And I knew they were messed up because Uncle Ben had already died before he got his powers. So I'm like, dude, if Uncle Ben was still alive and he got his powers that way, fine. I don't care how he got his powers, but you have to have Uncle Ben still alive when he has his powers so he can learn that core tenement to who he was. And when the cartoon did not do that, yeah, it looks cool and it's retro, and they're doing all these different things with races and all that, because he lives in Brooklyn. But I don't give a shit, man. They did not have the core instance of who he is as Spider-Man. And that would threw me off. So I digress. So they're doing stuff that doesn't make sense.
That's a very good point. And I've always been frustrated with this, with a lot of characters, where it's like this core. You create a character with a core concept and idea, and the character becomes kind of a representation, a caricature, a front for all these concepts that are built up behind that character. And then you strip that away and try to subvert or whatever and say, hey, you know what? what if Batman was poor and black and he came from da da, and you're like, yo, I don't need to see an inner city Batman. I mean, I could, but at some point, it's just a big what if drama that I don't actually connect to and care about, because what we care about was the essential story and the meaning of that character. And it's amazing that these moves that they seem to make are the same mistakes that happened in the comic world. Like, it's like, hey, we got four new Supermen. And it's like, I don't care about none of them. You're just like, what are
Good
you doing?
point. Good
Hey,
point.
we got this brand new version of whatever. And you're like, I don't care. It's just,
Good point. Good point. Batman got his back broke, and so now who's this new Batman and stuff like that. But who cares? I'm getting crap. Yeah, man. They just have to think through these things, man. And so anyway, make a long story short,
think through
MCU
how.
think through what the core to the essence of these characters are.
They
What were
not
you
doing
about to say?
it. I was just saying they're not thinking through anything. They're just like, whatever.
This he was thinks. Even the announcement, it was met with some kind of um, playing both sides of it. They were like, "Hey, here's all these cast members, and we're not done yet." So basically, if you don't like who we cast, or you feel like you're mad because someone's missing and there's enough uproar, well, don't man, don't worry. And so it's just like, what are you doing, man? So anyway, that
Yeah.
that is why we're getting a sense of this doesn't seem uh on the up and up, and there seems to be a whiff of, I mean, obviously with the Downey casting as Dr. Doom, that was a start of
Mhm.
this whiff. Now we have this 5.5 hour live stream showing all these different cast members and all that, and we'll go through that briefly. There's more. Pretty soon it's gonna stink. This whiff becomes a full stench. So we're gonna be like, is this carcass dead?
When you think you're smelling something, you're like, did you smell? And you're like, no, hold on, I'm not sure. And then you go about your business, and you're like, no, there it was again. No, no, hold on a second, hold on. And then you start investigating, and then you like pull back the covers, and it's like, look, 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 what's that doing there? You ate a sandwich last night, and you stuffed it under the covers because you
Yeah.
didn't want anyone to find out, and you forgot about the sandwich. Now your whole room is funky.
Woo.
Get out of here.
Oh
Wash the
man.
wash those sheets, Marvel.
Marvel, man. The carcass might be dead, Marvel. Be careful, man. You gotta get to the core of what you guys are building. So anyway, real quick, let's just go through this.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Were you surprised by any of this casting moves? I kind of broke it down in our show notes on the different groups of cast. I mean, I think some other channels have done that as well, but we can talk high level about that. But was there anything that was super surprising to you? And I got a couple that were surprising for me.
Um, I wanted to see. Um, I like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, but I wanted to see the what's that guy's name from 300? Do Magneto.
Really?
Yeah, the other Magneto
The
from
other Magneto?
yeah, the Age of the Apocalypse movie Magneto.
Oh,
Not Ian
Michael
McKellen.
Fassbender?
Yeah, Fassbender.
He's not in 300. You think about Gerard Butler, but
No,
no.
no, he isn't 300. He's one of the characters in 300.
That's right. He had a small part, yeah, before he was
Yeah.
a big time player. You're right. Good point. Good point. Fair point. I thought you would think about Gerard Butler because he was a star of 300, but
Now,
Michael
how am I going to
Fassbender.
mistake him for Magneto? Come on, now. Come on, dog.
I don't know, Mr. Benja. Okay, good call. Yeah, I mean, I like the younger guys, but I think there's a reason why they're doing this. There's a lot of love in this casting. So we'll talk about, let's
Hmm.
briefly talk about the cast. The first group we'll talk about is the 2000s Fox movie studio X-Men cast. That's what we'll
Yeah.
call this group. It's the Beast, who is played by Kelsey Grammer, Patrick Stewart, Professor X, Ian McKellen, Magneto, Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler, Rebecca Romaine, Mystique, and James Marsden, Cyclops.
Yeah.
So it's of a piece, right? So that's probably why they didn't bring back Magneto, Fassbender yet. He may still come back, who knows?
Hmm.
But there's something going on with this 2000 X-Men cast, and the rumor is they're probably going to try to probably negotiate for Rogue, trying to go, with Anna Paquin, Holly Berry. Can we get Holly Berry? Can we get her back? With her fine self in her almost 60s, in her 50s, late 50s, 60s, and yeah. So I think that's the rumor, that they're trying to bring these characters back into the mix. To your
No,
point, is
I
this
don't
to do
like
something
this.
with it? Oh, Mr. Benja,
I just
take
don't
your
like
head.
this, man. This is all like an effort to kill off the.
Yes.
They're doing a soft reboot, but it's like one of those, stupid ensemble series on TV where they're just going to bring a bunch of people back, and it's like, hey, everybody, you remember these guys? You remember that guy? Hey, you love this, don't you? It's a love letter to the all the years we've done and blah 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 blah. Actually, we don't really care much about this movie because we're killing it. What's really going to be cool is what's coming next, and we're going to have a soft reboot with Secret Wars, and it's like, ugh, it's
And
just
then didn't they literally kill Professor X in what's Multiverse of Madness, when they did that version of of him
yeah,
on the council, right? That tried to judge Doctor Stephen Strange. He basically got murked by Wanda in the astral plane. Remember?
yeah.
So it's like, we're gonna bring him back to kill him again. I hope not.
It's just weird, man.
I mean, yeah, there's a whiff here. There's a whiff. There's more of a whiff.
It's
Basically, we say Feige farted. That's what we're saying, guys. James, put that on put that on wax. Feige farted, and he don't want to admit that he dealt it.
you start talking about Feige, you got blurry on your camera, dog.
I know, man. Feige's watching. I
They
don't
coming
care,
after
man.
you.
I don't care. But anyway, so yeah, there's an interesting mix of why they're bringing this particular cast. I mean, to be fair, they did hint
Yeah,
at it when they brought the Beast and was that Marvels? Yeah, the Marvels, the Beast. Because so I don't. No one watched the Marvels. I know that, but there was a tag at the end of Marvels
I
where.
liked it.
Oh, you did? Okay. Do you remember the tag? What happened?
Yeah, yeah,
What's her name is stuck in that universe.
yeah,
Spectrum, the character Monica LeBeau, she's stuck
yeah.
in the Beast world. So I think that's what they're kind of, you
Hmm.
know, using that to bring in that X-Men into our world. And so that's kind of what they're trying to do. So anyway, so that's that. The next, so anything else about this X-Men cast real quick? We're not gonna go too
No,
much details
no,
on this,
no.
but the other ones is promotion for movies out this year. So this is this is the other category. So basically,
Yeah,
the whole cast of Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts will be in this movie. So I don't know. Look, they're gonna have their own movies this year. What does that mean for Doctor Doom? I have no clue. Maybe it's they're sitting in a room together watching TV and looking at each other, and that's the extent of their cameos. I don't know, but it does. But like I said, looks like there was a spoiler too, because if you look at who's included in the Thunderbolts cast,
yeah.
there's no Taskmaster listed at all. I don't know who the actor that plays Taskmaster, but it looks like they're not showing up for the party, but everybody else is. So for the Thunderbolts, so we'll see.
So bad.
Um, Even in the marketing of the Taskmaster, I don't know the actor, but they even have the actor's face covered up. So it's pretty clear that that person is not going to be important. Matter of
Man,
fact, Sentry, the villain, quote unquote, the villain Thunderbolts is showing up in this. So I guess they don't murk him, even though he's the villain, or he doesn't
uh,
get wrapped up. So anyway, so they're just promoting the other movies. There's room, it's like, okay, sure, but
yeah.
so basically, they're trying to say, if you don't watch these movies, you're not going to understand Doomsday. Come on, we played that game before. Get out of here, Marvel. So anyway, support for just okay movies. So these are movies that came out, sequels that did okay, but I think they're going to show up to kind of bring some continuity to the old version
Yeah.
and try and bring them to basically Captain
See,
America 4. But
okay. You're about to jump into Captain America 4, and this is just bothering me again because this is the kind of stuff I would stand up and yell at in design meetings, and then everybody would have that uncomfortable. Uh, Well, okay, we'll take that into consideration, and everybody knows. Look, I will speak the elephant in the room, but it's like when you say the Falcon now, are you talking about Danny Ramirez or Captain Black American Falcon?
I
It,
mean, they're telling us that Anthony Mackie's is the Captain America, so we're gonna have to go with that.
exactly. And that, once again, I'm not hating on him beating Captain America. It's just confusing. The story's weird. You still haven't given me a reason to get up and say, you know what, gosh dog it, I need to go see this movie. Story wise,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, guess what? Now you will because he's gonna be in Doomsday. So you gotta figure out what he did in Captain America 4 to be in Doomsday.
No, no.
Feige is Feige, boy. He gonna play them Feige tricks on us. He's trying to get you to watch Captain America 4. Did you watch it by the way? I mean, it's been several weeks now. Have you seen it, Mr. Benja? Have you seen it?
No, no. I think I was about to go and I started back into watching One Piece. And I cleared episode 700, by the way, in case anyone's wondering.
Okay, good. Kudos to you,
Yeah.
man. The One Piece watch. That's what we'll call it. So keep us abreast in your due diligence of watching all the One
Oh,
Piece shows. But so yeah, it was okay movie, Mr. Benja. Someone has seen it. We all went to go see the support Captain. It had potential. There's just a lot of stuff there. And Anthony Mackie, when they let him cook, when he's
hmm.
just being himself and not, trying to adhere to what uh Steve Rogers was about, I think there's some interesting things there, right? With the Isaiah Bradley piece of it, just look old man to you, that guy
Yeah.
uh, who's been experimented on via, we talked about this with go check out that pod. We talked about the whole Tuskegee experiments. That's synonymous of how they tested the secret serum on black soldiers, and Isaiah Bradley
Yeah.
was a benefit of that. But I thought that part was good. And then when he went up against Giancarlo's Viper villain, that was good because he was able to kind of be himself. He's not like Steve Rogers. He's more of a street level kind of guy where he's like, "Hey, man, you can't do this, man. Let's talk about this. Let's negotiate." He's more a little bit more
Yeah. Yeah.
a negotiator, and I think if they kind of stay in that vein, it has promise. He's not going to be like, I can do this all day. That's just not him. So anyway, so then Black Panther 2, we have Wilson Duke who plays M'Baka, Tenoch Huerta, Mia. I hope I got that right. Who
No.
played Namor, and Letitia Wright who played Black Panther. Sure. I mean, I think the comic book Black Panther played a big part in that, and of course Namor and Sue Richards from the Fantastic Four. They go back a long way. He's been trying to get with her since 1962.
Mm.
So they're gonna bring that back, I guess. I don't know how great of an actor this guy is to kind of pull that off. Because Namor is kind of an asshole. I don't get that vibe from that guy in that movie. He was kind of an asshole, but it was like for a reason. Where Namor is kind of like just overall dickish. So I don't know how they're gonna do that. But
Well, you were
yeah,
talking about the representation of the character coming across the screen and just bridging that gap. I get you.
yes. But yeah, we'll see. I don't, we'll see if what they're gonna do in
Oh
Doomsday.
Lord,
And
go on.
new folks, Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi, which finally people have been asking for that character. He had that movie. I thought it was pretty decent. I liked the movie. Matter of fact, it was better than I thought it would be. It just came out at a bad time with the pandemic and all that stuff,
Mhm.
but I thought it was a good movie. So finally, he's going to have some play, and this is weird. Channing Tatum was finally going to get to play Gambit. Never showed up in the 2000s. Been long talked about being Gambit, and now he finally, after that one little cameo in Deadpool, which is mostly play for laughs, he's going to show up in this. So sure, I guess.
I got no words, man.
I know you
I
don't. And
just
then we got and then we got the old folks. Tom Hiddleston, Loki, sure. Tom Hiddleston pops up. Chris Hemsworth, we talked about him. Anthony Mackie, of course. Sebastian Stan, Bucky, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man. Do we care? Ant-Man? Is it, are we still checking for Ant-Man out here?
Haven't cared since Quantumania.
And even in around 35 minutes into Quantumanium, I stopped caring.
Exactly.
So that movie was so terrible. Oh man, I just remember how I felt when I went to go see that movie. I said, oh Lord, this is bad." I mean, you know what made it worse bad? Just the CGI. When the CGI was that bad and was that noticeable, I was just like, "Oh no, Marvel lost it."
It's funny that didn't even register on my radar. I was just like, yeah, man, whatever, CGI, keep going. Um,
I mean, that was it. Was so obvious. It was because I'm not saying they can't do it. They've done it before, but it was just so obvious when they went to that quantum world that I was just like, "Oh, this is not good." And then last but not least, Robert Downey Jr. is Doctor Doom. So, Mr. Benja, that's the cast. That's what people have been talking about on the internet for the last several days. People are wetting their pants, excited about it, creating content. We got things to talk about at least for another 2 months. Change the conversation. I mean, it does all the things that Feige wants to do. Will the movie be
Wait a
good?
minute.
I have no clue.
Wait a minute. They just deflated Galactus by putting Doctor Doom in here. So whatever happens with, it's like the whole Celestials thing. It's supposed to be a big event, but you're like, all right, I
Yeah,
guess.
some
And you
small.
kind of keep
Yeah,
going. It's
yeah, it's a small little thing. I mean, but think about it. It's like,
Disney's doing the reboot. Reboot. Press the
yeah, they're
reset
gonna.
button.
I mean, that's fine. They kind of have to, which is great. It just
I want
will
to
this movie be?
no,
And then
it's
let's
not.
look.
It's not fine. It's not fine. I want an epic reboot. I want some craziness. I need like some other movies. I want people, you know, doing crazy things, giving up stuff. I want Thor to go away and Beta Ray Bill to show up. Anything. I don't care. There's some crazy stuff happening. Um, and I don't know. We might come out with some craziness, but right now it just seems like ensemble cast on stage, arms around each other, doing the you know the Las
I
Vegas.
mean, they're trying to recapture the end game feeling, and I don't think they can. I think this is what we're
They
trying
are
to
not
do. When
trying
you
to capture it. They're trying to milk it. They're trying to suck the last little life out of it. They're
they're
giving
trying
the
to get you to have that feeling that you had when you had all those actors on stages.
yes.
They had, everywhere you went, there was like 50 actors that you all knew, but they had built that over 10, 15 years of just building up stories that we understood, loved, and a lot of people grew up with these characters, right? Think about it. When
Yeah.
you first watched '08 and then till Endgame, what's that, like 15 years? You were like a baby, and then now you were almost finishing with high school when that finished. So
Yeah.
that was formative years to a lot of people. So to try to recreate that in less than 5 years, that's gonna be tough, man. And the fact that the Russo brothers, who will be directing this again, that it seems like they lost their fastball. The reviews for that Netflix movie they did, The Electric State, were terrible. Uh, they did The Gray Man, which is terrible, which is not good. It seems like everything they've done, it hasn't been good at all since Endgame. I mean, they have not done one thing that was like, oh, that's interesting at least, or that's different. It's been slop. So do they still have what it takes to make an MCU movie that's interesting and good? Or or are they just good for that time for MCU when they did Captain American? I think they did Civil War, and I think they did Captain American 2, right? I forgot what it's called, where Bucky came back. And then that gave him confidence to do Infinity and Endgame. But I don't know, man.
Do you
So
think
it's
how much of this really quick do you think is a fallout from changing plans after the Kang debacle?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I mean, but even then, I don't think it was working. Let's be honest. I mean, even before Quantum Mania, I mean, and then I think the pandemic had something to do with,
Hmm.
Black Widow. She kind of had to do a streaming release. Shang-Chi, there was some stuff there. The Marvels, there were some things there that wasn't working, but that was after I think Quantum Mania. So it's just like there's all these movies in the middle that was just kind of like there, but and I think they were probably spending too much time creating these TV shows too, right? You had Moon Knight, you had um obviously WandaVision. You had Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier. You had the Hawkeye show. You had Kamala Khan. You had Miss Marvel show. You had like 6, 7. And the Hulk. Remember She-Hulk? I think that was the one that got people in uproar. Boy, they did not like that show. I thought it was okay.
Did you rewind the twerking scene?
And on that note, Mr.
Benja, shake them gamma rays, them gamma gams.
The gamma gams. She was shaking it, boy. Shake your money, make it. When you make your money, make it.
Gamma gams. I'll make a T-shirt out of that.
I mean, and then they try to do something different with it, with the whole Feige computer and all that crap. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was different, but it was a little too much on the nose. But that's who that character was.
Yeah,
she was, but you can see because she's a fourth wall breaking character, just like Deadpool.
Yeah.
But because the actress and they kind of created a scenario for her, Ryan Reynolds breathes that, and so that's why he can break the fourth wall and make it work. Whereas She-Hulk could not. So anyway, so they got all and so there were rumors, people were like, where's Spider-Man in this cast? Where's She-Hulk? Where's and then people clamoring for She-Hulk, and people were asking, where's the most powerful being? Captain Marvel. Where's she at? You got a big threat. Where's she at? Brie Larson's like, man, people don't want to see me. She said in so many words, people don't want to see me in that role. Matter of fact, she was in the Marvels. I don't think she wanted to even be in the Marvels. She just did it out to kind of help the other characters, out. And she's like, I'm fine. I'm good. So anyway, Mr. Benja, it's cautiously optimistic. I think we're saying, but there's a whiff here. Can Feige do it again? But our take is, don't know. So. All right, Mr. Benja, what's next, man?
I kind of like Brie Larson's non-smile. How she just has that look that's like when Thor called the hammer and she was just standing there staring him down.
Yeah,
I actually really like that about her. Look, so I would like to see that one more time. So, are you going to be in the next movie? So yeah, sorry.
Can you believe she has Academy Award? I always forget that she has Academy Award.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was in Scott Pilgrim versus the World but everybody was in that. She's been around, man.
Yeah, you're right.
She was in Fast X. I forgot she was in that. Just I guess people when they're hot, they're like, let's get this money because you don't know how long it's gonna last. So they just show up in everything. But yeah, she's been around, man. She's been around.
Yeah.
So
all right, let's get to these trailers.
Yeah, man.
By the way, if anybody has any information, input, or anything like that on this whole Marvel Disney thing, the reboot, what they're doing with Phase 6 and possibly Phase 7 and all that, got some insider notes. Want to correct us, send us the flames. You know what to do in the comments. All right. So we have a trailer. And we're gonna do this a little differently than we did last time. James, you got to be ready for this one. It's gonna be fast. You ready, Theo?
Yes.
Okay. This is the trailer for One Battle After Another, starting in 3, 2, 1, play.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock
Why?
because they're not needed.
What time is it?
I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the passwords. This is Bob Ferguson. I was a part of the French 75.
Bitch, I felt like Tony Montana!
Steve Lockjaw just attacked my home. And I cannot remember, for the life of my only child, the answer to your question.
Maybe you should have studied the rebellion text a little harder.
I need to find my daughter.
Well, then call us back when you have the time.
You just.
You know, you are so unsuitable for my daughter. My child comes from a whole line of revolutionaries. And you look so lost. What are you gonna do about this baby?
You know what freedom is? What? No fear. Go! It's 413 out there! Not one thing, it's another. Find that to be true.
I need you, brother. Sensei, please.
Courage, Bob. Courage.
That's it. Courage. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you. God damn it! Viva la revolution!
All right, WB, what say you? You go first, Theo.
I mean, Paul Thomas Anderson, great filmmaker. He's done a bunch of stuff. I want to say that's the director of Boogie Nights. I think that is. I'll look it up in a second. But look, Leonardo DiCaprio. What?
Carry on.
Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Doing his. It's funny. He's like the most boring celebrity. Because I mean, he does stuff I'm sure crazy, but we never hear about it because he's that old school celebrity. We don't.
Right.
He's not on TikTok, right? He's not out here on Sports Center like Chalamet. He just does his work and goes home to his models. But his craziness comes out in his roles, right? The whole scene when he was on Quaaludes in what's that movie? Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yeah,
Where he
right.
barely can walk and all that stuff. It's just like this dude is like, he's a crazy dude, man. So it looks like there's a piece of that, this little goofy dude, that's in him that he's gonna show in this. But it looks like a very serious topic. And shout out a lot of black women in this one. This is interesting. You got Regina Hall, you got Tiana Taylor in there. Looks like his daughter's played by a young black actress. So, and I think this is one of the first times he's played a dad too. So I haven't seen him do that too much. So because he's, I think he's like he's not too much younger than us, or he's about our age, Mr. Benja. I want to say I think he's later 40s, so or almost 50s. So anyway, I'm interested. It seems like an interesting movie to go check out. Looks like a little humor, but also some story. So highly optimistic about this one.
Okay. I'm glad you said story because this has been something that's been bothering me just about the general state of media right now.
Mm-hmm.
What is the log line for this movie?
I don't know. Do I need to look it up?
No one knows because that's not what they gave you. They gave you a crazy Leonardo, threw in some Benicio del Toro. Oh, look, there's a pregnant lady with the machine gun with some quippy joke. There's Tiana Taylor. Okay, what's this all about? Oh, look, car flips over. Guy flies out of a car and rolls down the hill. It's like, it's just stuff. I still need that log line. And I think maybe this is just, my generation of movies where it's like you have the log line of, man falls down the cliff, crazy monster meets up with him. He controls the crazy monster, climbs up the cliff to destroy the village. It's like, okay, you kind of get what the story is about. That. Even if you don't like it or you do like it, you get what the story is about, the main flow, and then you decide whether you want to see it or not. And even if you don't, you're kind of interested in it. This is just a representation of stuff. And no matter what happens, I just can't get into that without the plot.
Interesting, really?
At all.
I mean, but look at the movies he's done. Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, The Master, Inherent Vice, The Phantom Thread. Have you seen any of his movies that Paul? I think he's like, he's like a low. There's certain directors that, Scorsese. Um, who else? Man, I'm drawing blank right now of all the different directors, but the one that did your favorite movie, Inception, Nolan. I
Right.
mean, there's certain, do we know all the way what his movie's about? But we go see because he's the marketing angle. If he's got a movie he wants to show you, it's got to be something interesting that's about. And there's certain people who feel the same way about, Paul Thomas Anderson. If there's a
Yeah. Yeah.
movie he's creating, regardless if you know what the plot is or not, there's something interesting that you need to go see. So to me, that's the angle there. And then also the other angle is just interesting images, right? And sights. Pregnant
Sure.
lady, obviously Tiana Taylor. Didn't see her. I mean, for those that don't know, she's more known in hip hop circles and R&B circles as a singer and choreographer. Last known to be married to a basketball player. so yes, to see her in a high profile. Now she's been acting more, of course. That's just kind of what these folks kind of do. They switch over. But she, not these folks, but just musicians in general, right? They kind of switch over and get some acting roles here and there. But yeah, I'm intrigued enough to go see it.
So, most of his recent outings have been for music videos, and I didn't know that part of it. But he did, it was Boogie Nights. So
Mhm.
this is like, I don't want to call him Hollywood royalty, but he's one of those definite Hollywood people where all of Hollywood knows him, and it's like, hey, Paul Thomas Anderson doing a movie, I'm in it. We're gonna
Yeah.
hang out with each other and do stuff. I get it. I get that vibe, and I did really like There Will Be Blood, of course.
Oh man, that's classic. I drink his milkshake. I drink it up. I mean, that movie was crazy.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. No, I mean, as I said, I understand the reasons why people would get into that, but that's not why I go generally to get into a movie. So it just,
What's the last movie you went to go see, and why'd you go see it?
I'm trying to think of the last movie that I went to go see because of a trailer that hit me with the log line of, there's a situation, there's a protagonist. It doesn't even have to be a person, a protagonist. It could be a world, a city, a concept, whatever. There's a driving force that has to get through something and get to some type of resolution. If I didn't see those things in a trailer, and I'm trying to think of the last time that happened, and it's like, yeah, I'm even thinking back to the Aliens trailer. I was turned off because it just seemed like jump scares and not really trying to tell a story. And I was like, huh, okay, interesting. So I may just be of a certain chunk of the watching audience that cares about that setup and could give a damn about anything else. Because
Well,
I can't
I mean,
remember.
look, man, I'm not saying that you're not wrong. I mean, movie. We talked about this. It's just hard for people who want to go to the movies anyway, and it's got to be
Yeah.
almost like an event to want to go see it. Now, unless you just love the filmmaker or love the story,
Mm-hmm.
then you're paying a lot of money when you just this could probably be on a streaming service, right? But they're trying to hope that you got Leonardo DiCaprio, you got Paul Thomas Anderson, right? Those are the two big draws to kind of get you to get out. I mean, yeah, you got some bands of Regina Hall and
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro, but really those are the big draws to get you out your seat. But if it ain't an event, man, it's like, I hear you. I think I'm just one of those movie guys. I'll go see it anyway, just to see. I said
Yeah.
and just to look at it. But I get your point. I mean, it's not the same anymore.
So I while we were talking, I was thinking, just going back to the trailers that we've seen, I really did get into the F1 trailer for the visuals, the movement, the kinetics of it all. I kind of want to see that in a theater, but not so much because of the story. I mean, I like what they're doing with the the new guy and the trainer, kind of that dynamic coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Taylor's oldest time.
Right. That's kind of interesting there, if not a little played out. But yeah, I did like that one for the kinetics and the visuals of it all. and not so much for what they were doing. So even that one.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I said, Mr. Benja, I think we will see if this movie does well. Probably not. I mean, it just is what it is. Movies
Yeah.
like this don't do well anymore. So it, it is what it is. Mr. Benja, I think we're gonna wrap up here, man. Any plans for next week? Briefly.
Hey, watch the trailer for The Account Number One. I think that was the last one that I went back and was like, I want to watch this movie because of the trailer. Just a weird premise. Any plans for the week? I got the CCTV astral plane camera set up, and my future self is always watching me. So I don't have plans for this week. I have plans for a week, 72 months from now. And I can't talk about them in public. It's because it would just be too strange. My wife,
Mr. Benja, I
but,
love it. Tell your walk your walk, brother. Walk your walk. Yeah, man, just another week, man, and La La Land, man. April, we'll do Q1. Can you believe it, Mr. Benja? So I'm doing my Q1 reviews,
right.
Trying to wrap up, look at what went well, what didn't, and just trying to hit up Q2 hard. So as I try to make some moves in business and just personal, man, I got some goals personally I'm trying to do. Got some big plans for the summer with some book stuff and some other things I'm doing. So yeah, that's my goal. I mean, this is the 50th year, Mr. Benja. I'm trying to do something big, for my future self. Because
Yes.
that's the goal. Future self is like, I'm counting on you this year, man. This is because I ain't doing what you were doing in your 40s. I feel you. I feel you, brother. So so I'm in that same mode too right now, man.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Look, if you like what you heard, please subscribe, like, and comment at Show vs. Business on X, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Shout out to our producer, James. Also, visit us on our website at Show vs. Business. All right, Mr. Benja, take care.
Peace.